What is up YouTube? Today I have a Borderlands 3 build video for you guys. After the discovery of Puddle merging, I have been testing and trying out a lot of different setups for several Vault hunters. There are 3 Vault hunters that can perform Puddle merging, include Zane, Mouse, and Flag. Only Amara, as far as we know, cannot perform Puddle merging. And throughout my testing and trying out different builds, different setups, I have found out that to get the most damage out of Puddle merging, Flag is the one to do it, but it requires you to use stackboard, which can be very inconsistent in the damage output and not very practical from my experience. But right in the second place, we have Zane. Zane has insane formulas for gun damage, which can play really well into the Ember Purge. It also has the clone who can hold the Guardian Angel, provide us with 500% V2 damage, which is kinda on par with Flag Pet damage. We also have insane grenade regen, which allow us to spam Dockhina Miracle Bomb in order to keep up with our merged Puddle. And as you can see in this clip, Zane were able to melt the 2 trial bosses very efficiently and very easy. But before the video starts though, remember to like, share, sub to the channel if you haven't done that already. Comment down below on what you think about the video. The save file will be in my Discord server. And let's get in. So even though I say this is a Puddle merging setup, there are actually 2 setups that is being fused into this build. And I will explain that later. But let's just focus on the first setup, which is the Puddle merging. So for the gun, obviously we are using the Ember Purge. This weapon has the best Puddle damage in the game. The Puddle not only scale with gun card damage, it also scale with gun damage and play really nicely with Zane skill tree and with the Puddle merge formulas. Secondly, I'm using the Guardian Angel. This is for the clone to hold and provide us with 500% V2 damage. This doesn't work if you hold it because once the Puddle merge, it is no longer your damage, so it only takes like damage bonuses from clone, which is why we are giving this to clone. Other than that, I'm also using the Sandhawk. This could be a great way for you to like stack Seeing Death, which is the class mod we are using. It says that whenever we deal gun damage, it has the chance to activate Zane skill. So Sandhawk does a pretty good job at it, and it is just also a really great gun to give to clone. We are using the Pestilence as our plan B game plan because there are some bosses that cannot be Puddle merged because they move too much, or they fly, or the area they spawn in cannot generate Puddle. So we are using Pestilence as our plan B, and because of the nature of Puddle merging, we are getting a lot of gun damage as well as action skill damage, which also buff the Pestilence damage. It makes sense to include the Pestilence because there are so much similarity between how we build Puddle merging and how a Pestilence build would work out to be. So, and even with our perfect gear, you are able to deal up to 100 million damage with the Pestilence per second. So I highly recommend you include the Pestilence into your build. And because we are using the Pestilence, we also have to use the Red Suit. Otherwise, the Pestilence will constantly down us. The anointment you would want to get on your Ember Purge is the Digiclone active regen 30% of your magazine per second. This is very important because it allows us to constantly apply a Puddle even after we merge, so that the merge Puddle can go on forever, technically. And for the Pestilence, you would want to get the 11590 anointment. Okay, let's move on to the shield. We have the Revolter. What's special about the Revolter is that when the clone like equip it and it break, it actually gives the bonus shock damage to the merged Puddle, which is insane. This is basically like double our damage, if I'm not mistaken. And make sure to get a low level one so it is easier to break for your clone. We are also using a Red Suit for the Pestilence stuff, and Oh God is a great alternative to the Revolter because the Oh God, why if we equip it, it doesn't buff our Puddle damage, but if the clone wear it actually buffs the Puddle damage. A 20% pure multipliers to the Puddle damage is really nice too. So if you can get a low level revolter, a fire god is also great. For the class mod, if we are doing puddle merging, seeing that is your best option because it activates a lot of our kill skill, which means a lot of gun damage, and it also activating pocket full of grenades, which means we are getting back our Dokina Miracle Bomb pretty quickly, allow us to spam it and keep our merge puddle going. It also provides a nice 10% effect bonus, which is also really helpful. The reason I'm also having the anti-freeze or the infiltrator here is for the pestilence setup. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you use the anti-freeze or the infiltrator, because the most important part is that you get as much point into violent momentum as possible. The ability on the class mod doesn't matter that much. And if you get some great passive like splash damage, action skill damage, and weapon damage on these, those are also worth considering. So don't worry about the ability too much. Okay, Puddle Merge also get action skill damage because it is considered a clone damage. So that is one stat that you should focus on, and it also buffs the pestilence damage. For the grenade, I'm using a Dokina Miracle Bomb, very important. Allow us to keep the puddle merge going for a long time. I recommend you getting the grenade thrown weapon grenade action skill damage increased by 25% for 6 seconds. This provides us with a reliable source of action skill damage, which is nice for our puddle merge damage and pestilence damage. One thing to note here is that you should get a low level one because a high level one will likely to down your clone, which is very detrimental. Puddle merging doesn't work if the clone is dead. So make sure to get a low level one. Do not get a high level one. I'm just having it here for testing purposes because a low level one and the highest level one possible have the same amount of puddle damage. I'm also using a 8-piece for the pestilence setup. Try to get the terror fire rate annoy on here. It provides us with V1 damage, and get a low level one so it doesn't down yourself. Okay, move on to the artifact. We have a couple options here. For puddle merging, you can go either for a Maliwan accompaniment, which buff a lot of great stats for our Amber Push, like max size, fire rate, damage, or very beneficial. Crit damage doesn't do anything, but I wouldn't be picky about this and just get any accompaniment with Maliwan damage. Try to get passive like magazine size and movement speed and fire rate. Splash damage doesn't work with puddle merging, so it isn't worth it. And even fire damage doesn't work because it isn't considered as your damage. That is for the puddle merge setup. But for the pestilence setup, we are having a elemental projector victory rush. The elemental projector is the important part. You don't need a victory rush for this. Even a purple elemental projector is good enough for the pestilence setup. For the passive, you would want to get area of effect damage, action skill cooldown rate, movement speed, and all that good stuff. Okay, so this is the current loadout of the puddle merge setup. If you want to do the pestilence, it is only a couple of gear swap. Like we don't use the Amber Push or the Guardian Angel anymore. We use the pestilence, swap out the revolter for the red suit, swap out seeing that for either anti-freeze or infiltrator, swap out Maliwan accompaniment for an elemental projector artifact, and swap out the miracle bomb for its piece. And for the skill of the pestilence setup, we are using Mantis and Sentinel. Sentinel is so that we can spam pointing at them, and that way it can cancel the pestilence cooling animation. And Mantis shoulder cannon is so that it can activate our action skill and anoint. Very simple, and you can take down quite a lot of bots. But if you can, you should try to use the puddle merge setup because this is what the build focus on, and it puts out insane DPS too, as you can see from the earlier clip. But for the puddle merging setup, you would want to use clone and do not use any second action skill because we want to get our grenade slot to be open so we can spam Dokina. The general playstyle for this build is when you are bossing, you generally to spawn the clone like far away enough so that it can throw the Dokina in a way that it would contact in the ground underneath the boss and create a puddle. Then You want to get as far away from the boss as possible and press F in order to swap place with the clone and then start shooting. You have to perform this very quickly, otherwise the dog in a puddle might go out. Once the puddle has merged, make sure to constantly shoot and throw Dokina bomb in order to keep the puddle going, otherwise it will stop and you won't deal as much damage. By the way, let's move on to the skill tree. To the red skill tree, we are putting 5 points into synchronicity for extra gun damage, Premutitus for mark size, Donnybrook for gun damage and health regen, Fractal Frag, very important skill. It allows Digiclone to throw our grenade mod, which means it can throw the Dokina and allow us to puddle merge. Oh, one important thing I forgot to talk about is that do not let the clone equip the Ember Purge. It doesn't do anything. Like if the clone shoot the Ember Purge and create a puddle, and you also shoot the Ember Purge to create a puddle, those puddle does not merge, and you will end up doing not as much damage. And it is very important that you don't like create a puddle before the clone were able to create a puddle, because your puddle will like take place and doesn't allow the clone puddle to appear. Be very careful, don't shoot too much, wait until the clone to put out the puddle, and then you can shoot the Ember Purge and make your puddle so that it can merge. Okay, let's go back. Duct tape mod is so that Zane gain immunity from his own gun and grenade. Pocket full of grenades is very important because it allows us to regen grenade and pair really nice with the Seeing Dead class mod. OU is so that we can get our Fight for Your Life. Supersonic Man is for more move speed. Like Ghost is so that we have a chance to ignore bullet damage. And just to moving out the skill tree, Boom Enhance is for extra gun damage to our clone, which is nice. It's just a skill that you should be taking. Double Barrel is so that clone can equip our gun and so it can hold the Guardian Angel, provide us with a lot of bonus damage to our merge puddle. We are using the green skill tree. We put some point into the purple skill tree like extra accuracy, health regen. Commitment is actually nice because we have to utilize as much gun damage as possible on Zane, even though it is not normally like recommended to take gun damage on Zane because we are having so much from violent momentum. Fugitive is so that we can sprint and shoot at the same time. Moving on to the blue skill tree, Violent Speed is so that we get more movement speed, which buff my violent momentum. Cold Ball is for extra weapon swap speed. The bonus cryo damage doesn't do much in here. Violent momentum, we get a lot of gun damage with which buff the Ember Purge and also buff the merge puddle damage. Cool Hand for extra reload speed. Salvation for lifesteal, 1 point this only, you don't need more. Seeing Red is so that whenever we activate our action skill, we get our skills, which is nice for like pocket full grenades. Violence E for extra fire rate, which means more chance of applying a puddle via Ember Purge. Good Misfortune is so that we get more action skill duration. Death Follow Close is so that we get more kill skill bonus and kill skill duration, which is nice with pockets full of grenades. So that is it. That is the build. Hope you enjoy it. If you find this video useful, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Comment down below on what you think about the build. The save file will be in my Discord server. And see you guys next time.